Hey guys, welcome back to the course. So this is the last part of this strategy number 1. Last part, reaching out to them. How do you do it and how can you be effective while doing it? So how do you do it? Well, it's relatively easy. So let's start with the first place that we covered, which was Twitter. Now the first thing you need to do is create a Twitter account. It's very easy. You hit sign up, you fill out some information, you put a profile photo, yada, yada, yada. You should be done in 15 seconds. Now, I honestly suggest that if you're not doing this technique, you're not going out and talking to people who specifically have your problem, you still make a Twitter account. Why? Because a lot of the techniques in this course, we're going to use Twitter because it's incredibly useful for growing your business. Even in this section, we will cover more broad ways that you can build a Twitter page and use that to grow your business. So don't skip over it. At a minimum, create an account. So we're going to use the Twitter account, not for broad purposes, but for messaging specific people. Once you have the account, now you're ready to roll. So go back to the list of people that you found. And now you have two options. One, you can direct message them, or two, you can tweet at them. Now, those of you that are out there that have absolutely no idea what Twitter is, it's a system where you can create an account and have people follow you, and then you can send messages that are 180 characters long about whatever you want to, mention other people, mention articles, share how you are feeling at the time, and all the people that are following can see it. So it's a big web of communication, complaints, and celebrity gossip. Now, the two ways that they allow you to communicate with each other is by sending direct messages, just like the same way you do it in Facebook, or even LinkedIn, or any other platform, really. And the other one is tweeting. Tweeting is when you share those 180 character posts. And then tweeting at someone is when you either tweet to them and mention them, or you reply to their individual tweet. Hopefully that didn't just boggle your mind. It's really not that confusing. Now, between the differences of direct messaging or tweeting at them, if you can direct message them, that is better. And direct messaging will show up in this one section right over here when you can do it. Now, you can only direct message people if they follow you. That's the catch. So that means that you can only direct message people that you already have some established contact with. Now, if that is an option to you, you already have a Twitter following and these people just so happen to be following you, great, message them. That's gonna get you the best ROI. Now, if you can't direct message them and you still wanted to pursue this avenue, here's one strategy. What you can do is go to their page and just follow them. If you follow them, they get notified that you followed them. There's a good chance that they will follow you back, at which point you can direct message them. Worst case scenario, they don't follow you back, but they might go to your page and check out your website, which is essentially the same thing anyway. Now, if direct messaging just doesn't work out for you, the other alternative is tweeting at them. Now, again, you can tweet at them generically or specifically respond to their tweet. I suggest you respond to their tweet. Now, the way you do this is you find the complaint, the specific thing that you had identified before as them having the complaint, them self-identifying as having this problem, and you click the reply button. Now, craft your own response. I'll give you some suggestions. Make sure that you include a mention of them. And the way you do this in Twitter is you just put at, and then look at their name. You'll see it up at the top, and say at their name. Now, what that does is it gives them 2 notifications as opposed to 1. If you just reply to them, they get a notification that someone replied to them. But if you did that and mentioned them, they get 2. Someone mentioned you and someone replied to you. Better chance of them seeing it. Once you do that, it's public. They can see what you said and other people can see that you said something to them. So there's a little bit of social pressure to at least acknowledge your message. Now, if they don't respond back to you or start a dialogue and then check out your website, you at least have an ancillary benefit of the fact that you posted on their page and other people will see it. If they're reading the person's complaint, potentially they have the same problem. Now, if they don't respond, don't worry about it. Follow up later. Send them another one. If that doesn't work, send them another one. And at that certain point, just let it go. I mean, there's an infinite number of people you can message this way, and guess what? It costs nothing, just your time. Now, the key here when you write a message for responding to someone on Twitter is that you need to connect the specific problem to your specific solution. Don't just say, hey, saw you had a problem, check out our stuff. That is too generic, too salesy. People are just gonna hate that. What you should do is Let's give an example. Let's say someone is complaining about how your software doesn't let them export into Excel. If your software did, you could respond and say, hey, our software exports into Excel and solves some of your other problems. Check it out. That is a correct response. You just helped them, you provided some kind of value, and you showed that you're not just a robot that's generically scanning their information. You're actually trying to talk about what they are talking about. Now let's check out Reddit. Now similar dynamics apply here, because when someone posts something, you can either post a reply or you can direct message them. Again, I suggest direct messaging because more often people will respond to that. Typically, if someone posts on a thread in Reddit and someone replies to them, they might read the first couple replies, but often it just gets buried because a lot of people are posting. They might just not get around to responding, or they might see your response and it's next to like 10 other people who also responded at the same time. But a direct message in general, it's gonna get a higher response rate. And similar to Twitter, if you do end up replying to them on a page, less likely to respond, but there's a chance that other people read it and those people might potentially have that problem, gets you more exposure. Now the key with Reddit, honestly, is timing. Reddit is kind of the case that people just use it when they're bored and they kind of flit from page to page to page. So if you can respond very quickly, if someone posts something and you can get a response while they're still on the website, that dramatically increases the chance of them reading it, responding, starting a dialogue, and potentially getting a customer. Now, my preferred technique for reaching out on Reddit is to try to sound as non-salesy as possible. I'd like to say something along the lines of, since it's a complaint, hey, that sucks. The way I solved it was blank. Or, I had that problem as well. That's why I did this. Remember, you are a human and they are also a human being. You are individuals. They do not want to be treated like something to be pitched to. Reddit especially is grouchy and very sensitive to being marketed towards. So make sure that you read your message, whatever you write, at least twice, and make sure you're trying to be as conversational as possible. Sound like a human, and they will respond to you like a human. The last little bit of advice I'll give you here is make sure that when you are responding on a public thread, you know whether or not you're responding to the individual person and their problem and what they said, or the group post as a whole, because there's generally a theme, and then everyone's responding to it. So you're either responding to a response or the initial response, and everyone is talking in a tangential kind of angle. If you don't pay attention to how you're doing that, you can come off sounding like an idiot. You can respond to someone's individual complaint, but their complaint was about the complaint or the topic that everyone is talking about, and it just sounds like you're out of the loop. It'll really hurt you. And the last one, Google. Well, to be honest with you, this one is just a crapshoot, right? Because Google can search literally anything, so you're gonna find a lot of different stuff. Now, there's a lot of different mediums that you'll find people complaining, and in general, they kind of fall into 3 different categories. 1, they're gonna be sites and platforms that allow direct communication, great. 2, they're gonna be sites that allow passive participation. You can post like a comment or a reply, and hopefully they read it or someone else passing by sees it. And 3, there is no channel for communicating between users or with the person who originally posted. Now, some places are better than others, and I try to pick these out of the crowd earlier on. Quora.com is a great one, question and answer website where people are actually serious. It's not Yahoo Answers. People will post legitimate things on there. You can post as a reply or reply to other people's reply. You can actually get a very good back and forth, and you can direct message, which is great. Meetup.com, that's another example of one. It's passive communication, so you can post on the walls. You can kind of participate in the threads, and you can send messages to people, but there's a lot of weird rules around it. But you can find groups that are around your topic. Then you can look in the threads and see if people are complaining about specific things. And then past that, any niche forum is gonna be great. If you are looking for complaints about something related to video equipment, there are bajillion forums with thousands of people in them. You just gotta find one of them, sign up, and then same thing. For all of these, the name of the game is the exact same thing. You're gonna sign up, you're gonna find the people, you're either gonna try to direct message them or reply to them publicly. You're gonna try to relate your post directly to their problem, try to sound as human and not as salesy as possible. Try your best to start a dialogue. You start a dialogue, you can convince them to buy your stuff. And if they don't buy your stuff, well, at least you got some feedback. Now, if you've run into a blog, well, post in the comments. People will see that. If you can't post in the comments, well, try to fish out the email, the person who posted it, or some of the people that have commented. Some types of blogs will allow you to find their email address or to click through to their user account where you can then message them. And if you can't do either one of those, well, continue through the course because we will cover ways that you can contact people that you shouldn't have any way of contacting them. It's a bit of a trick, but you'll learn it later. All right, guys, get out there and do this. Questions, concerns about this strategy as a whole, just let me know. If you do this long enough and you persevere and you don't just give up easily, you will find a customer. And worst case scenario, you will get some feedback about your idea, which is crucial because when you move on to the next strategy or the next strategy, you're more likely to be successful. All right, see you in the next lecture.